By the time I was 6, I was a bit tapped out, which was good because it's taught me the things I needed to learn. But let me tell you, it was not easy and it was certainly lonely. But when I was 7, I had a very narcissistic first grade teacher and she terrified me. So I would completely check out, which I know in psychology you'd say, oh, you're this, don't diagnose me. But what happened one of the times is she came up behind me and shook my shoulder, and I looked, and my peer across the way was on word 8 in a spelling test, and I didn't have a piece of paper or a pencil on my desk. Like, I was that checked out. But I recall looking beyond her across the room to the window, and I could sense that there was this male person floating out there, and he's a yogi, but I had no words for that. This was in the 1970s. And I was out there too, in a small form of myself, I guess energetically, but I knew I felt safer out there than in the classroom. So I assume I knew some things that I couldn't articulate. Thank goodness I didn't articulate in my private Catholic school. She already hated me enough. They would have been like, get rid of her, send her to the psych ward. But then I would know things before people would say them, and they'd say, that's funny and uncanny. When I was in my teens, it was stronger with friendships. I'd on a rotary phone dial my friend and then pick up because I thought about calling her, and I'd say hello, and she'd be there. Like, she already had dialed me and I picked up before it rang, right? And then when I was in my 20s, I was standing with one of my professors of art, and I said, I wish, inside my head, I said, I wish I could be in his brain and my brain at the same time to understand him. And after that, I started having premonitions and seeing silly things before they would occur, such as a book's going to fall off the table at a coffee shop. And 2 weeks later, it would happen. And my then husband would look at me and say, or, like, oh my gosh. And in my early 30s, I thought that was, so I trusted it. But I really think, so he trusted me and didn't think I was crazy. But it was really, I think, to see it through his eyes and remember it and trust it for myself. But when I was 27, I had a premonition after all these premonitions that I would die when I was 34. And I was terrified. And I still don't really know what that message means fully, but I'm way beyond 34. And it's a message, I think, about a spiritual death. And I think it harkens to a different time. It's something that I can tell felt different than this era. After that, I felt like there's no use in being reverent. And that's what I did, is I would shake my fist at the sky and say, if you want me to do this, then you bring me the foundational understanding, and I'm going to challenge everything that comes. And I think that is the beauty of my work, is I didn't accept it and I didn't listen to other people and say, protect yourself. I said, how about I don't protect myself and see what happens? And I learned a lot more from it. So I teach from, I think, more of an academic space within what we would understand as intuition. There's even a book that came my way. It was by a psychologist who wrote a book about intuition. I can explain all of the things in her book, but she was like, how does this work? Why is this true? If this is true, there's so much more.